don't actually... No, they don't. The enemy team doesn't have anyone that can pull her away from the turret, and she should have just stayed with the turret. Sona is not a DPS character. She cannot kill champions on her own, so she should have just stayed where she was. I mean, she cannot even kill the minions efficiently. We're top. So, about his skills then. As long as there's nothing going on. Poison Trail is the purple trail he leaves behind, and it poisons you for a few seconds. So once you hit the poison, you're going to get poisoned. And yeah, it lasts a few seconds, but it of course updates if you stay in the poison. And it does quite a lot of damage. And we see here that it actually does an incredible amount of damage, because he's doing a lot of really good damage, and he's not going to catch up here. Nope. Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't have flash. Flash would have been the one thing missing from his arsenal. Just the ability to get over the walls would have been awesome. And not actually turning on his poison there soon enough. But they get the kill anyway. The ignite was kind of unnecessary. I don't know whose ignite it was, but somebody threw an ignite on there. And that was a little bit unnecessary. Ghost, of course, is very nice, because it makes you run so fast that nobody can catch up with you. Yeah, except if you're alpha striking Yi, of course. Because that's not really catching up, that's just alpha strike. So anyway, the mega adhesive then, it's the big blob of goo we see on the floor. And if you walk through it, you're going to get slowed. And it lasts for 5 seconds, the blob of glue. And the amount of slow is going to increase with the level. So fling is the thing we saw a couple of times already. It you pick up an enemy, and then you throw him behind you, where your poison trail is. And because the poison trail comes from the bottle behind him, so it's actually, if you run, it just forms a line behind you. And it does quite a lot of damage, especially if you get AP. I think it's a 1-to-1 ratio, yeah. So it does, in this case, 300 plus his AP, and that's a lot of damage. So it's, of course, very useful, and that's why we normally don't see him as an AP character, although many people buy AP on him. Don't get me wrong, but he normally is built as a tanky character, or tank character. Because his job is to run in, to grab someone, and to throw them in back into his team. But that means that he has to run into the enemy team first, and he has to survive that. And that might be a problem if you're going for too much AP and too little of everything else, so of the armor and magic resist. Getting out again at very low health, under 100 I think. And yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that means you know what your character is doing, or you're really lucky. One of the two. So getting back into the middle lane here. Then his insanity potion, his ultimate. Yeah, I already read most of it. It increases everything basically. So your ability power, armor, magic resist, movement speed, health regeneration. And it reduces crowd control effects by 20%, so basically giving you tenacity 20. But I think this one actually stacks with other tenacity effects, because this one isn't actually called tenacity. So if you have the boots, what are they called? Mercury Strats, and you have, well, your ultimate on, level 2 in this case, then you're going to have 55% reduced stuns and such. And that is awesome. So again, going for Dragon here. Getting Dragon is really, really awesome. And by now they should have no trouble taking it out. Of course, Xin Zhao is coming in, and he is the better Dragon Killer. Oh. Or he just ignores the fight, that's good too. No, he thinks they have it, and he's going to basically farm it up here. And I do have it, without dying this time. He does use his ultimate, I don't know why exactly. But, yeah. Because normally you use it if you're going after someone, because it increases your movement speed and your ability power. And, well, with the two of them increased, you're going to deal more damage and you're going to close the gap a lot earlier, a lot sooner. So this is the bane of Singed, the Banshee's Veil. Somebody has to break the Banshee's Veil, otherwise his fling will, and his fling is just not good enough. And there we go. Where are we? We're here. So he could have used his ultimate here to get into this fight quicker. But still, this team is doing, well, a huge amount of damage by now. And yeah, I think that unless they make a mistake, they have this game. They can probably push one of the lanes, because, well, there's 4 of them down, only Rise remains, and yeah, you can take a few tower shots as Singed. Yeah, they should really push one of the lanes, and Singed is going for okay, the red buff, which gives him slow, so I guess that's good. It also gives him some attack damage, but really that's not his thing. It's mainly for the slow, I guess, plus to just take it from the opponent, which is always good. So, we see Rise with blue buff, by the way, so that's also good. Sona can also use a blue buff, but the enemy blue buff hasn't respawned yet. And Singed still with his Oracle. And, well, we see Eve coming out of stealth before actually getting the stun off, and that makes him survive? No. No such luck. He was too lucky the first few times. And this would be the excellent moment to use your ultimate, because it increases your magic resist and your armor and your movement speed and everything you need. Oh, and your health regen. Everything you need to get away from a 2v1, or actually a 3v1, because Yi was coming in from here. But okay. He died to the 2, so that was good enough. And we are just waiting to, yeah, for him to respawn. Yeah, it's really strange, but it's also really common for, well, the newer players, the lower level players, I would say, to not push when you have the chance. People go back way too early, and don't push enough. I mean, you can go back to base if you need to, sure. But if you ace the opponents, or, well, have 4 of them down, and your team only has 2 down, so why not push? It's not like they can kill you. So Irelia might be a problem here. Yeah, she actually got a kill, but they do take her out 3v1, which is of course good. Yeah, Singed did lose his Oracle in his last death, and that also is one of the things you need to keep in mind, And if you have an Oracle, you're worth about twice what you're normally worth. A little more. Because instead of the normal 300, you would you would be worth about 700, because Oracle costs 400, and if you want to replace it, it takes another 400 away from your team. So all in all, not the best thing to risk your life, or your character's life at least, in order to get a little more